We have time for a couple of questions or comments. We're just curious where this lands for you, if there's things that we touched on that you'd like to explore more. Would love just some feedback or Q&A on that. Where are you thinking? I can see lots of thinking faces in here. Yeah.
I got one. So going through all these exercises, I feel like it's definitely made me rethink. And I feel like one thing that's always been really challenging is the friendship breakups.
Yes.
Like I feel like I've always forced a fade or like ghosted on them instead of done like some sort of face-to-face, like here's why I'm doing this, like here's why we need to end our friendship. So I'm just curious like how you would recommend going about those steps.
Do you find that you do that as well if you've had romantic relationships? Do you ghost and leave as well?
Oh.
You would sit down and
It's
really
only been
talk
like
about it?
the select few people that were not very nice people.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think confrontation in general is really hard, right? Because we come in packed with a lot of fear of how we're going to be received, and we don't want to feel rejected. Also, we're scared of confrontation and how that's going to go down. But I think, and you know, we were talking about some role play opportunities. Maybe we'll come up with some that we can put online that I think could give people some scripts, some prompts like these workshops, because I do feel like honesty is the best policy. I believe, I really do. I don't think you have to I don't think you have to tell everything because you're ending a relationship, unless you're trying to repair one. I think if you're trying to repair one, you come in with a different set of tools, right? Yes. And I always like I statements because it keeps it not about the other person, right? I'm not getting what I need in this friendship, or I'm finding that it's difficult for me to do X, Y, or Z, not a you. I think if you want to change a relationship, it's a slightly different conversation. But if one is over, I think short, concise, honest, compassionate, as loving as you can. No is a complete sentence. And that's hard for women to remember sometimes and us to do, right? Because we're so packed to want to please. But I think sometimes you don't have either room in your life or this isn't working for me. It's going to sound similar to a romantic breakup, right?
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's like, I don't string it out. And I think ghosting can be hard. I understand it's easier. Look, texting's easier too. It's why we all do it. We don't have to look face to face. I don't have to look at you. But when you let go of that friendship, I was going to turn to you and ask, like, was there a formalized way that you did it, or did it just sort of?
When I had kind of reached my breaking point, I came directly to her face to face. I'm like, this is what I know it's not a nice statement, but I'm like, this is what you did that really bothered me. Like, let's fix it. And when she was kind of resistant to that, I realized there was nothing else that can be done if you're not going to meet me halfway. So,
fair. That's fair.
I tried.
What about writing a letter? How do you feel about that? Or maybe even by the time you've written it, you think, actually, I don't need to send this now. I got the closure that I needed. That could be one way of doing it.
It's so unique to the situation itself, but I think for you, I would focus less on the other person. What do you need? So much like we gave you a prompt to know what you need when you feel rejected, maybe a prompt that we could all do at some point, or you could do at home is, when I'm ready to close something out, I need to do it this way. Or when I'm ready to say goodbye, it needs to feel like this for me, right? Because I think more so about how that person's going to respond is, how do you like to end things? Yeah. You know, I think it's very hard to end things with dignity. It's hard to quit. It's hard to quit a job or to quit a relationship, or But I think if you can just approach it with some grace and recognize we're all on a journey. We might meet each other, and our friendships or relationships might not work out. But I do believe if we can be introspective, there will be something we can learn from that. But start with you is how I would answer that. What do you need in order to feel a closure that you feel proud of? Yeah. Right? Yeah. What other questions?
I guess if you feel like a friend isn't supporting you the way you need to be supported, something I find is I get nervous about offending someone by telling them, like, you're not supporting me in the right way. So what is the best way to kind of go about making sure you are getting that support? Is it in the moment, or is it like a whole separate conversation when it's like the going, things aren't bad?
I think it's all about the wording on that one. I think instead of telling them what they're not doing, tell them what you would love them to do. And do it in a way that's like, because I want to spend more time with you, or because I love being around you, or because, I would like to heal with you in this way. I think always telling people what they're doing wrong is a negative, whereas you can spin it into a positive, like, oh, this, or even give them an example, even make up an example if it didn't even happen, and just be like, oh, this one time, when I was hurting or felt rejected, my friend took me here or did this with me, and I absolutely love that. Maybe we can do that next time. That type of thing works.
I would agree. I think it's about if you want to keep that relationship. We're not mind readers. We don't know, right? And people are coming back with their own stuff. So we just gave you great I statement prompts, right? So rather than saying you didn't do this when I needed it, an I statement would sound like, when I'm feeling like this, what I really need is X. That has nothing to do with the other person. No. That's all an I statement for you, right? And I would maybe preface it, depending on the friend, by saying, I really appreciate our friendship. I love when we do this. When I'm feeling like this, I really need X, right? And then how that person receives it is also not about you.
Yeah. True.
Because you have to remember, when we get into those complicated places in relationships, we're packed with our own story. So I might that day be having a really crappy day and hear that as a critique on my whole life and everything I'm doing wrong, right? Yeah. You cannot own that. This is why we called it self-care in friendships, because the self has to come first. So in that moment, just be proud that you did what you needed to do to take care of yourself. If it didn't come off seamlessly, okay, we're human. We figure it out. That might lead you to realize that that friendship cannot be sustainable, right? Yeah. Or it could be opening doors to beautiful depth in friendships that bring your relationship to a whole different level.
That they didn't even know was possible either. Because like we said, we have had the privilege of this conversation, but a lot of people have never had any thought or time of helping with their own relationships and friendships. So I hope you all enjoyed this.
I know. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great.
That was great.
Learned a lot.